promote or anything. And we're live just like that, Rich. We're live.
Hey,
Hey,
all right, live.
we are live. Welcome, Classic Guitar Rock channel, radio, podcast, whatever you want to call it. I'm Jeremy and Rich is here.
Yeah, what's up, classic rock fans?
We all know Rich from the Classic Metal Vault and host of the Graveyard Shift on Classic Guitar Rock Radio. So, you know, I'm kind of, it was 4th of July, right? So I'm out in the boonies, the middle of Montana, no internet, no nothing. And the few times I got online, I'm seeing all the Black Sabbath Back to the Beginning video clips come up. And I'm like, that was this weekend. But of course, I remember Rich bought the package. So Rich watching all of this. So we had to get together and do this. I'll call it a post-mortem on the Back to the Beginning show that happened over the weekend. I have some thoughts. Rich obviously has some thoughts. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Rich, and you kind of tell us about the package you got, number one, and then your initial thoughts, and then you and I will kind of debate back and forth. I say debate. We probably agree on most things.
Most everything we're going to talk about. I already know that. But hey, what's going on? Hey, thanks for having me, Jeremy. So yeah, I mean, I bought this package and it was so cheap. It was like $65. You know, you got the t-shirt, you got the fake ticket, you know, it's coming in the mail. And I was kind of iffy because it was such a quick throw together. It seemed like, because it was like a month in advance, you heard about Back to the Beginning, but they had no plans on streaming it from what I read anyway. And then everybody, please stream it, please stream it. So they ended up 2 weeks out. They said, we're going to stream it. So everyone bought the tickets. Let me tell you what, that platform they used, I don't even know what it was. It was outstanding. The RSS feed, everything worked. Nice. You could Google stream or Google Cast everything. We just set up my laptop and then connected it to my TV and it worked the whole time. A couple times it was cutting in and out, but other than that, the quality was awesome. The sound was awesome. I was very impressed with the sound of the entire show. Every band that came out sounded great, sounded great sound wise. Let's say that. We're going to put a pin in how they actually sounded playing. But as far as the sound goes, it was amazing. But I'll tell you what, it was a tearjerker, man. I mean, I'm going to admit it. It was a tearjerker. Ozzy Osbourne is one of my favorite bands or one of my favorite dudes ever. I mean, Black Sabbath and the Ozzy solo career. See, I'm more of a solo career guy, because that was my era, kind of when I got into it. I always loved Black Sabbath because I listened to him, but it was always Ozzy. And when he came out and just started singing, and his voice was prime, just for an 80-year-old man, his voice was on target. I mean, so clean, so crisp. You couldn't do much, but I was just blown away. And when Mama Coming Home, I'm Coming Home was played, ouch. Ouch. That was rough, man. That was rough.
Yeah.
So, but it was one of the best things I've ever seen. I mean, it was like Woodstock again or whatever, Live Aid. It was just great.
So to someone, I have seen tons of clips, right? I have not seen it. You saw it front to back. You saw the whole thing. So I'm going to ask you some questions. How long was the whole thing?
The whole thing was, so it planned doors open. The whole thing was planned at 12 hours. But it actually ran 9 solid hours. 9 solid hours. 7 a.m. it started right on the cusp, and it stayed on target because I had the schedule broken down. They released the time frame, the timeline of who was coming on beforehand, and then there was a 2-hour delay. So actually, the cool part was you get on setlist.com where you can check everyone's set list out after they play, and they were posting everybody's set list 2 hours ago, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So I knew what everyone was going to play as they were coming on. So, and they had the stage, dude. So every time the band would come off, they had the Back to the Beginning sign in the back, and it would raise up, and the whole stage would turn, and the other person's stage setup was already set up in the back. So it was right there. They just had to come in and plug in some wires. All the roadies had to do their thing.
They did the changeover real quick. I watched a video clip just about that. Just the logistics of them turning the.
Let me ask you, what was it like watching those guys? Were they going crazy? Because we were like, these guys must be just humping.
What do you mean? The guys like setting
the road
up
crew?
I didn't really notice. I just saw that it turned and I thought, well,
Okay.
that's cool, but I wasn't really paying attention.
Right.
Let me real quick say hi to Bruce, who chimed
Oh, okay.
in. Bruce says, I'm the one. We actually have more than just you watching, Bruce, but thank you. You were the first one. And anyone else, if you want to chime in on the chat, you can absolutely do that. Thanks, Bruce.
Hopefully people actually saw it, because if they saw it, they'll probably agree it was one of the most amazing shows I've seen. And just the setup. Sharon Osbourne did the project management for this, from what I understand.
Yeah.
She ruled the school with it. She had the stage set up. She had everything on lock, but it was going smooth until probably about halfway through the show. And then they got off time, about half an hour off time.
Wow.
And that was just because they go to snippets like Jack Black. So did you see the Jack Black clip?
I did not. No.
So Jack Black dressed up in Ozzy's first, he played Mr. Crowley.
Okay.
So, but he had School of Rock with him, the kid band, all these kids playing the instruments, right? And he was in the Ozzy black shirt with the white frills and the white pants and the
old school
Ozzy on it, old school of the video, the Crazy Train video or whatnot. But he was in that, and he's singing it, doing all this goofy stuff. But hey, Marlon, what's going on? Nice to see you. But yeah, he came out and just did a great job with these kids. I was just mouth hitting the floor. These kids are ripping Randy Rhoads solo on a polka dotted flying V, ripping it up. I mean, the whole solo of Mr. Crowley, I was highly impressed, man. Really.
So let me just throw this out. Bruce, Marlon, you two, you're our buds, but anyone else, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on the performances you've seen. I haven't seen all of it. I've seen a lot of clips. Rich watched it all. Yeah. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you about next, Rich. But I would love for you guys to chime in, and in the chat or in the comments, let us know which part you saw that you thought was the best. So, what was I going to say? Oh, so here's, well, let's just jump right into it.
Let's do it.
And I have a question for you that you might know the answer. Maybe you won't. The performances I saw that I thought were really stellar. To be honest, the one I thought of all that I've seen. Oh, before I get to this, here's what I meant to ask. Okay, so there was like the all-star band, right, where you'd have just a bunch of people.
Two of them.
Two different ones
playing
Sabbath tunes, which were awesome.
Actually, they played more than Sabbath tunes, but we'll get into that.
Okay, good, because all I've seen is clips of them playing Sabbath tunes or Ozzy tunes. But then there were also groups that were playing their own stuff, like GNR was playing GNR, Metallica was playing Metallica. So what bands were there that were playing their own stuff?
Oh man, where's the list? I should have brought the list up. So Mastodon opened up basically every band except for the supergroup. So here's what the lineup was. They played like 1, 2 to 3 to 4 songs. As it got later and the bigger bands came on, they started playing 4 songs and 5 songs. But every band had to cover a Black Sabbath song. So every band would play. Metallica played 2 Black Sabbath songs.
Which ones did they play?
They played Hole in the Sky. That's what they opened up with. And then they played I can't even remember what it was called. I've never even heard it before. Truthfully, it's Johnny Blaze. Johnny Blaze. So they played Johnny Blaze. That's right. Johnny Blaze. Yes. And
it's on
Hetfield was
technical ecstasy. Yeah, that's the
now you guys know Metallica's my favorite band. So I'm going to say Metallica was Metallica. What they did. So what Sharon told the people they were opening, hey guys, make sure you play stuff that you played when you opened for Ozzy, right? So Metallica played Creeping Death and For Whom the Bell Tolls, and then they played Battery and Master of Puppets, which
I saw the
songs played.
Puppets. Yeah,
right. But they played all 4 of those songs when they opened for him in '86, and that's what started Metallica's career, was opening for Ozzy Osbourne. And I know they're pretty grateful, but everybody, all the bands. So that was what it was. So the super groups, they just kept changing people out. But the best surprise was Steven Tyler, man. I don't know if you saw that
I
yet.
saw it.
But
I
Steven
saw
Tyler came out,
Yeah.
and you heard him backstage. I have no mic. And my wife was like, "That's Steven Tyler." I'm like, "No, they didn't bring Steven Tyler. He's retired. His vocal cords are shot." That's the last I heard.
Mm.
You know, they stopped touring. They stopped the Vegas residency because of his vocal cords, right?
Yeah.
And no more touring for him. This guy comes out and does Train Kept a Rolling, and then he busts out Walk This Way, and then knocks out Whole Lot of Love from Led Zeppelin. And that sounded wow.
What I heard of him was awesome. I'm like, holy cow, that is great.
Right.
Now there's some you've mentioned that I haven't seen yet. You mentioned Sammy Hagar.
Oh, good.
That he forgot the lyrics.
He forgot the lyrics to Flying High Again.
But
now, I don't know. Now
I've heard his singing was pretty good though. He sang good. He just didn't.
He did sing good. He just
the lyrics
wasn't on time, and he was kind of looking around. What's going on? But
yeah,
I was kind of disappointed in Sammy, and then you know he busts out with Rock Candy, which cool. But I mean, dude, you're Sammy Hagar, and if you're up there representing Sammy Hagar, there's only one song you should be playing up there. And I Can't Drive 55, man. That's just it. That's the only song you should. He didn't play it. No.
55? Wow.
No. And I think he has a man crush on Tom Morello because he would just kept staring at Tom Morello, going, "Tom Morello."
Here's the thing. Think back to what you said. He probably opened for Sabbath when he was in Montrose. That's probably why he did Rock Candy. Would be my
guess. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I just did. So the Metal Vault last week was all Ozzy's bands that opened for him. So that's how I played all the bands. And definitely there were some bands. Ramones opened for him. It was kind of cool seeing all the bands that opened for him. I didn't know half the bands that I played on there. They were kind of not metal, you know.
Right. That opened for him.
Slaughter.
And I would have never thought that the Ramones ever opened for us.
Yeah, Black Sabbath. They opened for Sabbath. Alice Cooper started the show. He opened for Sabbath many times, a couple times actually. In 70, I think it was 77. Star Wars, but 77.
That's cool. Bruce Cases. This would have been interesting. Alex Lifeson should have been part of it. His early playing style was heavily influenced by Tony Iommi.
He would have fit right in.
Cool. That would have been cool.
I agree.
Here's another thing. I can't remember the guy's name. I was watching a video of a guy talking about people that he was surprised weren't there or weren't part of it. One of the guys he mentioned was Brian May. And I'm like, that's a good point because Tony and Brian May are good friends, right? And so that would have been cool. And
did they say why he wasn't there?
No.
There's a lot of
and that's one of the things
speculation.
They've been teasing that Sharon kicked a big band off of it because they wanted to get paid. Yes. And I have not yet heard who that big band was.
She won't say it yet. She keeps saying she drops the name, but she's not dropping it. But it's not Megadeth because we thought it was Megadeth.
And it's not Iron Maiden because some people thought it might have been Iron Maiden. It's not Megadeth. It's not Maiden.
It's not Megadeth because everyone thought, even I thought, 3 of the big 4 of thrash are there. Why isn't Megadeth there? I know they opened for Ozzy, or they played with Ozzy on Ozfest many times. You know,
and Dave Ellefson was there representing Megadeth, but no Mustaine. So that was kind of interesting too.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
So, okay. Oh, I never told you. The one I thought that sounded the best was the guy from Disturbed. Dave Draymond. Dave Draymond. Did he get booed?
He did. And there's a story about that.
Okay, let's hear that story.
Well, I can't tell the story because I can't remember what they told me, but it was something to do with Gaza. It's something to do with Gaza, the Gaza Strip, and the war. And
was he making something political stuff? That's probably
right. He didn't say it there. He said it previously.
Okay.
People remembered it. So when he came out, they booed him. But I called that. I knew Dave was going to come out and bust out Shot in the Dark because how many people can sing Shot in the Dark?
Dude,
I know
that sounded better to me. That was, of all the clips I've watched, that sounded the best. He pulled it off. You know, he came in right after Lizzie Hale had done Ultimate Sin in the clip I saw. It was okay. She does okay.
Right.
It was cool that Jake was there. That was awesome.
Yes, and he screwed up. Did you see him screw up?
I didn't know.
He screwed up and Shot in the Dark, and you see him roll his eyes, and he's like, "Ugh." but he shredded the solo after that, so he made up for it.
Okay, so here's one of the things I wanted to ask. Jake was there, but Nuno was playing some of Jake's solos. Nuno played the Bark at the Moon solo. Nuno played the solo in Ultimate Sin. Why was that? Why wasn't Jake playing the solo?
I don't know, but he is that. They're calling him the MVP of the show.
Nuno,
the MVP. Yes.
Totally. Dude,
nailed the extreme guitars. Blows up, just blew it up. And even Vernon Reed from Living Color is playing Bark at the Moon, but Nuno took over. Like I thought Vernon Reed was going to be shredding it. No, he looked like he was having issues.
Yeah.
But I did hear they did say that the people that got there that didn't know what they were playing got it right there, and they were practicing right there backstage.
Oh yeah,
trying to learn the songs for Black Sabbath to cover.
So like one of those clips with Jake. Sorry, I forget his name. Adam from Tool. Can't remember his last name.
Oh yeah, I don't even know either.
You could tell he was one of those guys. He was there because he was invited to be there.
Well, the lyrics.
He's just playing it simple. You know, he's not doing anything. Then they did who was singing? Oh, Breaking the Law with Billy Corgan.
Yeah,
sorry.
It wasn't. He has that whiny high pitch, kind of weird.
I mean, I know he's a huge Sabbath fan, a huge Priest fan, which is great. Respect him for that.
It's cool to see KK come out there and rip it up.
It was cool to see KK, and I thought Halford would be there.
Well, have you seen War Pigs yet from Judas Priest?
No. Oh, I have. Yes.
That's a good one.
It is awesome, but they were not at the show, right?
No, they were playing. They had a gig that night.
Okay, so I'm sure that's the only reason they weren't there. Okay, because I was wondering.
It was them and Priest.
Wolfgang had to cancel too. Wolfgang Van Halen had to cancel because of scheduling conflicts.
Yeah, there was somebody else too that had to cancel that was supposed to be there. But I like the way they flipped the script. They did a snippet and went off and did a little side thing in a studio somewhere. And then, like Limp Bizkit, Fred Durst was there, and he sang Changes for the second time. But you know who was good? Have you seen Rival Sons play Electric Funeral?
No.
Holy smokes! You got to look that up. You got to look that up. Rival Sons, they had that one hit. I can't remember the name of it.
And they're good. I like them. And then there was some pop guy did a version of Changes. What was his name?
No, that was Fred Durst, man. Oh no, that was some dude in Europe. His name was it wasn't Buckethead. But his name was Youngblood.
Youngblood.
His name was Youngblood.
Someone said, I didn't see the clip, but he got rave reviews. Apparently he did a good job.
Very good.
And Marlon, I don't think Buckethead was there, right?
No.
Was Buckethead there?
Buckethead was not there.
All right.
No. I'm surprised they weren't. Everybody else and their mama was there, though. I'll tell you that. They had, if you looked backstage, it was like a heavy metal summer camp.
Oh,
like literally, like everybody was there just talking and like you need to look up the backstage scenes and check that out.
Yeah. Okay. So here's one thing, Rich.
Yeah.
You talked about how good it sounded. Mm-hmm. There's a clip they're playing of what went out on the feed. So what Rich heard at home. But then they play that versus what it sounded like in the stadium.
Oh,
particularly, and I'm not trying to be negative Nancy here, but they played a clip of Ozzy singing a line from War Pigs, and what you heard sounded really good at home. But then when they play it back in the stadium, what was actually at the stadium, it wasn't as good.
Oh, I'll believe that.
There was some auto tune going on, which understandable. Yeah, because totally. I like you. Everything I heard is like, dude, this sounds really good.
Sounds really good.
Ozzy sounds good. Yeah,
I really don't care about the Ozzy piece. Yeah. I mean, he's not out there touring. I knew this was his last sit. Right. You know, his last sit in his bat chair. Dude, we got to get into it. We got to get into the bands that just didn't cut the mustard, man.
Yeah, okay.
We got to get into it. We got to get into it.
Okay,
there is one, and everybody out there, go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say, I mentioned Billy Corgan. He didn't sound good.
Sammy didn't do it.
Sammy,
he did okay, but you can't forget Ozzy's
Yeah, you
song
got to
and
know your
Ozzy's final
lyrics.
show.
Okay.
Just
So
can't
I'm going to
forget.
let you launch because I know there's one band, especially you wanted to talk
Yes.
about in this.
Yes,
category.
yes, and everybody, I'm sorry if you're fans, I'm sorry, but he needs to retire. He just needs to. Axl Rose. Now they said he sounded like he sounded like the gingerbread men from Shrek. So that's how that's how he
exactly
sounded.
what
He
it
sounded like he was forcing it. He
I'm a
can't get
real
that high.
boy.
I'm a real boy. Yeah. Welcome to the jungle. Not what a game. And he kept like Paradise City. He wasn't. It was like Vince Neil. It was the same thing. He'd get lost in the lyrics. He was singing, "Grass is green, girls are pretty. Take me home." He was just roughing it, man, and it was terrible. And everybody, even me and the wife. I mean, we were like praying for him. We're like, okay, look, come on, Axel, just give us a good scream. And he did one. We're like, oh, there he goes. Okay, he's there. But then he went right back to it, and you're like, what are you doing? And everyone's calling him. Oh, the chat was rough, man. The chat they had a chat room.
So you could watch.
And they were
nice.
killing Axl Rose. The funniest thing I've ever seen in a chat room. It was just Metallica was taking a while to come on, right? It was like, and they delayed it, of course, Metallica, but they delay it like 10, 15 minutes, whatever. So in the chat, it said Metallica has decided to pull out from the event due to the disappointing performance of Axl Rose. That is so funny. We were dying laughing. We're like, yeah, it's bad, man. We know it. And everyone's saying, just retire, man. But here's my thing. Look, we all went to Motley Crue. I did. Their final tour. We knew what we were going to see.
Yeah.
Vince Neil tried to attempt to sing. It's the nostalgia of it all. I get it. People, they're on tour in Europe right now. They're on tour in Europe right now, playing sold out stadiums.
Yeah.
And people are saying they're so great, but dude, I don't know. It was so bad. It was so bad. Guns N' Roses, they sounded great. The musicians, Izzy Stradlin was there.
I saw Izzy was there.
Yeah,
I
was like,
awesome.
I freaked out. I said, Izzy's there. What is Izzy doing there? Cool.
Yeah.
I thought I was looking for Tracy Guns after that. You know, I'm like, whoa.
Izzy was there.
Tracy?
Yeah. Now I'm going to just throw this out. Now, Marlon is our resident Shanker fanatic. Like,
yeah, I see that.
He says, I still can't believe Shanker had Axl sing Love to Love on his latest record. Terrible. Now, Marlon, I didn't think it was terrible. Surprisingly, Love to Love, by the way, for UFO fans, that's maybe my favorite UFO song. And it's kind of a ballad. It's a mellow song, right? So he had Axl come on and sing it on this last album. And it was better. Let me just say this, Marlon. It was better than I expected. It was better than I expected. But to Rich's point, yeah, what I saw of Guns at the Sabbath thing, it was not.
It was disappointing, right? It was very disappointing. I was hoping, and I was really praying that he was going to hit those notes. I really was. And it was just bad after that. It's just like you were cringing going, come on, man. I mean, these are two of Ozzy's favorite songs, if you didn't know that. Marlon's giving you heck.
Yeah, I know. I'll put it up there. I can take it.
Address that to Nigel, Marlon, right?
That's right. Send those to Nigel. Yeah.
Send those to Nigel. He'll get back with you.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was just disappointing with Guns N' Roses.
And then who else? Was there anyone else you wanted to point out?
As far as disappointment goes, not really. It was more of a happy surprise, like Slayer. Slayer was a surprise to me. Of course, they're supposed to be retired, and they're coming back playing these big festival shows. And Tom Araya, the singer, bass player, wants to be done with Slayer. He is done with them. He's like born again. You know, he's like, man, I just don't agree with it anymore. You know, I just want to go fishing and do my thing. You know, but Kerry King's pushing him. You know, and so he's back. But he looked good. He sounded good. He even hit the Angel of Death scream at the beginning, which is his trademark, right, of Slayer, that scream. And he screamed it, and he was this close, that close. It could have been auto-tune. I don't know,
you know,
but I don't know. It sounded pretty good, man.
So I was going to ask you, and I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist here, but you said there's a 2-hour delay.
Yes, there was.
So they could have been tweaking the audio for which, you know, to be honest, it probably makes it a better experience for everyone.
disappointment. I got one more.
Okay, let's hear it.
And this, I'm going to commit a sin right now.
Oh no,
talking smack
we're
about
ready for
this
it.
legend. This
Okay.
guy's a legend. I was upset with Zach Wilde's loud guitar in Pantera. When Pantera was on, he was
Really?
drowning them all out. You could barely hear him sing. You couldn't hear the drums. You couldn't. It was, Zach Wilde's guitar was loud.
Well,
And I was
that's
like,
not
"Oh,
Zach's
man."
fault, though. That's not
That
Zach.
you're right. You're right.
Right.
You're
But
you're
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of Zach's kilts. I just got to say it.
I'm not either.
I'm not a fan of the kilts.
Neither is my wife.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. She's like, "What is he wearing? A kilt?" I was like, "That's his trademark."
And it's not like a cool Spartan Scottish kilt. It's like a light blue, baby blue kilt.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like a Braveheart wiped his face with it,
something,
and
fell
on, and then mopped up some blood with it and threw it in some dirt.
Totally.
You know, it's kind of like, and it's all uneven. You're like,
okay, so here's what I have to know, because I'm not sure logistically how all this worked. So did Ozzy come out? Ozzy's sitting in his big throne, his big chair. Did he do Ozzy solo stuff first, and then they finished with Sabbath stuff at the end, right? So
yeah.
How long did he play the Ozzy solo stuff versus how long did he play the Sabbath? He only did 4 Sabbath tunes, correct?
Yeah, he did 4 Sabbath tunes, and it was 4. Yeah, it was 4 or 5. Was it 4 or 5?
Okay.
4 Ozzy tunes. I'll say 4. I don't know. Suicide Solution, My Mom Coming Home, Crazy Train.
Okay.
So those are the 4 I remember.
Okay, so and he just had his normal band with him during that part. Rudy Sarzo wasn't still
there. No, it was weird. It was
Zach
somebody
was
else
there.
too.
Okay.
The drummer and the bass player, don't know. Zach was there, shredding it up, but that was great. He sounded great. He came out from the floor. They raised him from a platform.
I saw
he came
that.
out of a hole. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And you ever saw he's like trying to get up?
Yeah.
And but they strapped him down with a belt. So he couldn't get up because Parkinson's, you twitch and, so he would fall out of the chair. So they strapped him down. And he kept trying to get up, from his chair. But then they took a 15-minute break after Ozzy set.
Okay.
And he kept, the funny part, Ozzy cracks me up, dude. I love Ozzy. Just, he's I love you all so much. And then he reached into his little pill box and he'd do his little wet, and he'd wet his mouth. And then he'd be looking at his pill box. He had like his old man meds next to him.
Nice.
I was dying. But the best part, most classic part, I'm going to tell you the funny part now. And not many people notice it. Maybe they did. But at the end of the Black Sabbath concert, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's coming up to him, to the chair. And he's sitting there in the chair, just kind of, he'd look and he'd smile, Tony Iommi. He's like, hey, he's shaking his hand. And then Bill Ward comes up and shakes his hand. And then Geezer Butler comes up. And actually, Bruce, I'll get to that in a second. He did. He was in Supergroup number 1. Anywho,
he played quite a bit.
Yeah, he did. He actually did a lot. Where was I? But at the end, so Bill, he gave him an album or a booklet to sign. So he signed and stuff, and they brought him a cake. I said, that's a bad idea, man. And then they left him. Like everyone walks away, right? And I'm like, and we're just kind of watching, and the whole thing got criticized online, of course, got demolished because it was a part of the show, but they didn't really film it. There was just a camera on the stage from way up top, and we're watching everything happen. But then when they flashed to Ozzy sitting in the chair, he's like, he watches Geezer Butler walk away, and he's looking, no one's there, and he's like, I love you all very much. He doesn't know what to do.
Yeah,
no one's coming to get him.
Like been abandoned.
They clipped to Sharon. Sharon's talking to everybody backstage, and you see Ozzy. He's in the chair. He turns like this, and he goes, Sharon, get me the F out of here. It was the best. The whole room just uproared in laughter. I mean, you see him stressing, panicking, and he's like, Sharon. I just heard that voice.
Yeah.
Sharon, and he was yelling. He was in a panic mode. He must have forgot where he was again, because Parkinson's does that too. He's just kind of out there. But man, it was so funny. And they finally, when they flashed back, they got him out of the chair. They must have carried him off or something. Yeah. But he was gone after that.
Yeah. Well, a couple things, right? It was great to see Bill Ward playing.
It was 20 years.
Because and he did great. Because in the recent reunions that they've always talked about, it just hasn't happened with Bill. And so it was cool to see him. Um, Geezer and Tony played great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Geezer impressed me.
Yeah.
He's still ripping it up.
Yep. You know, and I knew it would not happen, but they should have had Bob Daisley involved in some way. But that's never going to happen with Sharon,
Yeah.
right? But Bob Daisley wrote Blizzard,
all of it.
Diary,
Bark at the Moon,
even the later stuff with Zach. He wrote almost all of that stuff.
Yep.
And that he wasn't. Maybe they did ask him, and he said no. I don't know. I don't know the details, but he should have been part of it.
Hey,
and also, the guy I was watching, can't remember the name of the guy. He made an interesting point. But now that I think of it, it was, how can I say this? And am I wrong saying it? It was more about Ozzy than Sabbath, right? It was.
It kind of was, but no, I don't know. I'll say 50-50 on that, Jeremy, because everybody was focused on Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Everybody kept thanking Black Sabbath and Ozzy.
Could they have had some of the? I mean, Ian Gillan was in Sabbath. He was on the Born Again album. Could they have had Ian Gillan there somehow? Could they have had even Tony Martin?
Yeah, they talked about that. I think it was the Sharon show.
Yeah.
So, so maybe there's bad blood between them.
Could be.
I don't know, because it was mostly Ozzy crew. You're right. Because when they took that backstage picture, who had been in Ozzy and Black Sabbath, all the old Black Sabbath dudes weren't there. It was just the 4 original members, and then Jakey Lee's there, Rudy Sarzo's there, and a few others are back there. And yes, Rudy Sarzo performed in Supergroup A, Bruce, and he played Shot in the Dark. He played what were the other ones? Ultimate Sin.
He was out there playing Judas Priest. He played
Breaking the Law.
Yeah,
and then he played Train Kept Rolling.
And he was out there. Walk This Way. He was out there.
It's hard. I didn't recognize him at first. And then I'm looking and I'm like, oh, that's Rudy Sarzo. Okay. Yeah. My wife's like, who's that? I'm like, oh my gosh.
It was
Quiet awesome. Riot. Hello. Ozzy Osbourne. Hello.
So
then Marlon, I got to address this. Marlon, that I was going to say something about that. It was not great to see him shirtless. When he took off his shirt, I was like, did he just take off his shirt? No, he didn't just take off his shirt. He took off his shirt. And I turned to my son and said, see, that's where I'm at. You start getting a little saggy. You're getting a little saggy and old, man, looking like leather. Yes, Marlon. Oh man, we were dying laughing at that point.
I have a special place in my heart for Sarzo because when I saw Ozzy first time, you saw him on Bark, and I saw the Bark at the Moon tour too. Right, but the first tour I saw was Diary. After Randy had died. So Randy died in March. I saw him early June in the old Boone Street barn in Spokane, the old Spokane Coliseum.
Wow.
And I was right up. I was small and lithe back then, right? I was 14 years old. I wiggled my way right up to the front, and Rudy Sarzo was right there. I mean, he was just boom.
Yeah. That's how I knew it was on him.
Yeah,
he
totally.
I was like, oh,
yeah,
it's Rudy Sarzo, man. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So it was, and I agree with you that it was, how can I say it? It was kind of sad, right? Cause it's an end of an era, and Ozzy's, at least live, mentioned he's going to do another album.
Yes, that's
Ozzy's going to do another album.
He is going to record another album. He is 100% confirmed that. He's already working on it. So he's been working on it. He just can't tour anymore because of all the stuff, and he just can't. But like I said, his voice, they'll probably. Patient Number 9 was one of the best Ozzy albums I've heard since No More Tears. Literally. Yeah. Like
it's and he's been such a part of the zeitgeist since the late 70s. Well, earlier, throughout the 70s, but once he became Ozzy Osbourne throughout the 80s, I mean, he's just always been part of the scene,
Exactly.
heart of
And he's
culture.
like the godfather of metal. I mean,
Totally,
literally, like, and that's what the sad part is just, man, it's just, we're not gonna,
yeah. Marlon,
yeah,
I would
Ozzy's
probably
probably
not.
not.
And
No,
Ozzy has never really done much writing,
no,
right?
he hasn't.
It's been, well,
Performer.
in the early days, Bob Daisley, and now I don't know who all writes, but there's only one Ozzy, and he was kind of the embodiment of hard rock, crazy,
Right.
you know,
You know
stuff.
what my respect is with Ozzy, and you can appreciate this too, Jeremy, as per everybody on this call probably is the
Mhm.
love of music, the
Yeah,
love of fans. He loves music. He loves helping bands get out there that are good. He's helped so many bands. He
yeah,
has just promoted it, and he doesn't ask for anything in return.
yeah.
He's just like, let's get you out there and get you. I mean, he has promoted some bands that I don't agree with,
Mhm.
but he has, and I respect that so much with him. And you could tell he's like, you don't even know what I feel like right now. This is amazing. He kept telling the audience that you
Yeah,
just don't know how I feel right now. This is truly
yeah.
amazing. And the last song, Paranoid, very sad. It was just
Yeah,
like, this is it, man. This is
this is
it.
the last. He even said that. He says this is
Yeah.
the last performance, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
But
Think about
here's
it.
the thing. And yeah, you could say, well, he didn't have much of a choice. But I like the way he went out. He said, this is the last time. We're not doing it again. I mean, how many times have the Who said they're not doing it again, and they keep coming
Every
back
band,
and doing it again? Yeah, everyone does.
everybody,
This is our
everybody.
Aerosmith has had a farewell tour, I think. Yeah, so I don't think we'll see Ozzy perform
I
live.
don't think so
We
either.
won't see Black Sabbath perform live again.
And I don't know, Jeremy. I disagree with you here because I listen to Ozzy Speaks on Ozzy's Boneyard every week, right?
Uh-huh.
And I hear his passion. He's been wanting to get back out on tour because remember when he had to cancel No More Tours too. He
Yeah.
stopped it. My brother-in-law was on tour with him
Mm.
during that. He brought me that shirt, the parking lot shirt back. And he was there when it stopped. And where was I going with that? I forgot where I was going with that.
That's been years ago that
Right.
he thought he was done there.
Oh yeah, I know where I was going. So he kept saying on there, I need to get back out there and give my fans one last show. I need to give them. And he's been saying that since he stopped. But he's like, but I can't move. I fell. I broke my neck. I had surgery. I've had stem cell treatments. He just kept saying it, but I need to get back out there and please my fans one more time. He kept saying that. And he always says that. And that's the mad respect I say, no matter how bad he's hurting, you and me hurt in the morning. We don't want to go to work. We don't even want to get up, but this guy's flying all the way to England, touring around with them, getting up on the stage. He can barely move. It's just, that's incredible, man.
He still does it.
That's respect. That's
sure.
Respect.
That's
what
awesome.
I dug about it.
Well, I'm going to have to dig in and watch more. What I've seen so far, pretty cool. It was cool to see all those. It was really cool for me to see KK Downing and Jakey Lee. That was cool to see those two. Those are two guys I really liked. I got to go watch the Sammy performance because I missed that. Did he only do one tune?
He did three. He does three of them.
Oh, because he did the Rock Candy too.
Rock Candy. He does Flying High Again. He did another one too.
Okay,
I can't remember what it was, but he does another one.
Awesome.
It's pretty. I mean, Sammy's got a good voice, but he's just such a goofball in between stuff. It's like stop being awkward, man. Just get out there and rock and roll.
Sing.
Stop being a weirdo.
But
he's like literally Tom Morello's like, what, dude? Just start singing. Stop looking at me. I'm about to play.
Yeah.
You'll see. He's like, like Tom Morello.
Which reminds me, one of the most awkward videos to watch is there's a performance. It's probably 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It's a performance of Sammy singing Rock Candy, being joined, Marlon, by Michael Schenker. And Schenker will not stop. He will not quit doodling and playing his solo. And Sammy's like literally getting up into his face, like, dude, I got to start singing again. And Michael just keeps going. And I think this was when Michael was still at the height of his addiction problems, but it's awkward because you're feeling for Sammy, like this guy won't shut up. He just keeps. So Anyways,
It was kind of funny how this critic I read about Sammy Hagar's review, the critic must have just hated him. Like literally, like he was ripping this guy up. It's like, and who the heck likes Montrose anyway? They were a crap band. That was the only song that they played.
Yeah, I'd
and
fight
why
that
are they
guy.
playing Rock Candy anyway? You know?
Yeah, I'd fight that guy because I'm a, you know, I get it, right? But I'm a huge Sammy fan, and I think he's like 78 now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know how
his last tour was good.
Is Ozzy 80? Is Ozzy 80?
Ozzy's like
late 70s. He's Sammy's age,
70,
probably.
Yeah, he's 78, 79.
And I think Steven Tyler's older than both of them.
Is he? I don't know. So. He sounds good.
Yeah.
That dude, I don't know why he quit. Well, he probably just 3 songs, okay, but
yeah,
every night for 6 months. Yeah. I know his stuff's bad.
Well, hey, Rich, before we wrap up, while we got a captive audience here, I just want to remind everyone to check out Classic Guitar Rock Radio.
Yes.
Classic Guitar Rock Radio. Go to classicguitarrock.net. Remember, I was a cheapskate and didn't pay my bill for classicguitarrock.com. So now we have classicguitarrock.net. Go to classicguitarrock.net. You got a link right there to the radio station. And of course, Rich hosts the Graveyard Shift every weeknight, hosts the Classic Metal Vault.
Yes.
And we have a lot of fun. If you're not listening to our radio station, you'd like it.
There's more stuff coming. I just put away the CGR Jeopardy, and we're going with something else soon. And we got shirts, and hopefully if Jeremy can get something going on, we can start selling them online.
We're gonna try to start selling some shirts cheap. That's the thing. Right. We're cheapskates, so we want to sell them cheap. But so anyways, Rich, thank you so much. We need to do this more. We need to do this like every week.
Like we're supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like we've talked
Jeremy's
about.
basement. We got to do it. I'm just going to come up there into your fine studio establishment.
We'll do it. Bruce says I jam with the radio station. So awesome. Appreciate it, Bruce.
Good job, Bruce. Thanks, man.
Thank you guys, everyone. We'll do it all again. You can email us, classicguitarrock@mail.com. Check out the radio station, and we'll see you.
Jeremy, thanks for having me, man. You guys have a great time.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
See ya.